Hey, thanks for checking out the video. I hear a lot of people at the moment talk about resilience and well-being. And one of the things that I've been paying attention to over the last while really has been resilience and my own resilience. So I'm working from home for the last couple of months. Often the only people I see in the day are my girlfriend and my cat, and I'm still on the phone all day long to people from around the world, and it's interesting. So I'm connected to people all day long, but it's very different when you're in a room on your own for the majority of the day. And that can play into our resilience, but because I've paid a lot of attention to this over the couple of years that I've been kind of paying attention to personal development, some of the things that stand out to me that help with my kind of attention to resilience really boil down to a couple of things. And one of the things that I learned quite early on while paying attention to that topic is a quote that goes something like, resilience is not necessarily taking on more, but recovering better. So the emphasis on the recovery piece is really important. For me, recovery is relaxing and being able to create a boundary between my work and my home. So in the evening, when I switch off, I switch off. I don't turn back on work email. I don't contact anybody outside work. And that's really important to me. And being able to partition between work and home. For other people, that may be more fluid, but it's really about finding the balance of that boundary that works for you so that you can carve out kind of mental and physical space between those two kind of work and home partitions, you could say, or separate areas. A second piece that I pay attention to for my own resilience is distracting myself. So often I can think about and overthink about a lot of the things that were going on in a day. And one of the ways that I often decompress is by reading or watching TV. And I've found that over the last couple of months, again, distracting myself allows my brain to think differently or think about different things. And that can be really good TV that's educational, but it can also be really bad TV that's just for the sake of watching it. I think we have to be compassionate to ourselves when sometimes all we want to do is to relax and chill out with our loved ones and be able to spend that time. And there should be no guilt around that. So that kind of compassion to ourselves, but allowing ourselves the time to create that boundary between work and home is really important. I mentioned about the physical aspect as well. So physically, I move often. I have a standing desk beside me where I alternate between sitting and standing so that I'm not stuck, physically stuck in one place for a long time, but also that definitely has an impact on kind of cognitively, not feeling stuck and feeling like I'm moving towards and moving with different things that I'm working on. So that's kind of like maybe a second or third piece. I think as well, exercise is huge. Often we talk about well-being being purely mental, but actually there's a physical component to feeling well and decompressing after what may be a stressful day. What we're all collectively experiencing at the moment is trauma, it's stress, it's disruption, it's a lot of change, it's a lot of uncertainty and ambiguity, and that creates a stress response in us. Our bodies are well adapted to cope with stress and threat responses, but over a prolonged period of time, we need some way of letting that out, some kind of valve that we need to release to let our bodies not hold that any longer and our minds not hold it any longer as well. So one of the ways that I do that is by exercise. So I cycle often, I do weights, I do certain kettlebell routines, and I found that that definitely shakes me out of the physical state of either alternating between sitting or standing in a day. And one other thing that I would definitely preach but also practice, and I have the evidence beside me, is the journal. So often I'll reflect on the day, but I'll also journal. And I have a couple of different journals that I use. This one is just blank pages that are lined where I document what's happening. This is me sharing ideas in a piece of paper. And I found that this has really served me well, just documenting what's going on for me. I would definitely recommend this. Nobody needs to see it. So be kind to yourself if you do use that. The other approach is to buy something like this. So this is a kind of different type of journal or diary that I use, and it actually has prompts rather than just a blank page. A blank page when you're starting out journaling can feel quite daunting. What I find valuable about this is some of the prompts for both morning and then in the evening to kind of decompress and just kind of reflect on the day. So it has nudges for what actions need to be taken, different people you might send an appreciation or a piece of gratitude to. It also has, one of the questions I really like is, if I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I would tell myself to remember that, and then it leaves a space for you to answer that. So that's definitely something useful. So to flex between journaling with a blank page and also then being able to use it as a kind of prompt version of a journal has been really useful for me. I use both and I alternate between a few different ones depending on what I need in the day. But that helps me decompress. So just to recap on some of those things, I think there's an element of creating boundaries for yourself, both physically and mentally, closing the door after your day is done. I think that kind of physical movement or exercise definitely plays a role. I definitely think that some element of journaling, whether that's either kind of free form, blank page, or more with prompts and different kind of questions that you use, is definitely valuable. And then I would also say create or find things that excite you or make you happy and do more of those things. Often our jobs become who we are, so it becomes our identity, like I'm an accountant, or I'm a coach, or I'm a businessman, or I'm a company owner. And we forget that life is more than those things. Life is more, you are more than those things as well. And I think that that's a useful thing to leave you with today, is just to share that creating joy and creating enjoyment is really important. And that's something that you discover for yourself, but that you create for yourself. So find the things that make you happy. It could be watching a comedy. It could be spending time with friends and family. It could be playing a musical instrument. It could be going for a walk at the beach. Whatever that looks like for you, fill your day more with things that you love. And that'll also help you create that boundary between work and home. Hope you found today's video useful. It's nice to be back recording videos. I wish you an amazing evening, day, weekend ahead, and I'll talk to you in a video soon. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video.